and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Readthrough podcast. My name is India Jones, and I've not read any book in the main series. However, one of my co-hosts has, and the other one also has not. With me today is my friend and closest confidant, Peter Bond.
It's me.
And the boar god of our podcast, it's Joshua Dean Baker.
Yes, I am bristly and have tusks.
I think it was a strong intro. You know, I stand by my post-it note that said, India reads it, ? I also had Capustan, but the Spider-Man theme.
Which we have tested and does not get far.
Yeah, we tested it out. There's not a lot of legs on that bit, you know?
Yeah, you'd think 8 typically,
thought,
but would you?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't get it, Josh, but that's like
spider
good for
joke.
me, and...
8 legs?
Oh.
All right.
I got it.
We tried.
I loved it.
Thank you, India.
The podcast is coming out a bit asynchronously, but we got some corrections. So before we got into the show, I think we should just quick slip into a little correction section. In the prologue, we talked about like why it was that Calor had the power to curse the Elder Gods, Krull and Draconis, and the Sister of Cold Nights. And it was clarified that since like blood and like the loss of life has power, like his continent and empire being destroyed gave Calor enough, like the sacrifice almost like gave him all this power to curse them, you know? So it was all this death that fueled his these curses. Let it be known.
Which is kind of, I don't know. That's kind of some, like, what if, I don't know, man.
It made a lot of sense to me.
I mean, I read it and I went, sure. I mean, nothing makes sense, so this makes just as much sense as the rest of it.
That's more like it, Josh. Nothing makes sense. So
exactly.
This makes perfect sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it made...
but how was he even strong enough to kill a continent, is what I want to know. Where'd he get that strength? Let me know.
I guess I have no comment on that.
Okay.
Got him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because I know I should, like, you're supposed to say something else, but, like, I guess I learned something about how he did it, I guess.
You didn't read the books. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, listen, we've all been there.
And in the intro, you said you've read none of the books, India, and that's just not the case now, you know?
Well, she's listened to 2 of the books.
Hey, she's reading Memories of Ice,
She is
right?
reading this one, yes.
Yes. Yes, I am. And it is making for both it's a better experience, I'd say, but also way more tedious, as I knew it would be.
Yeah. What drove the change? And then we should probably get into the show, but like, was it just, it was time, or what do you think?
It was getting kind of frustrating to feel like I was missing sections of the book, yet I'd listened to the whole thing, and I don't know. I guess I realized that this was just not working for End. 2 books in, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah.
Fool me thrice, had to make the change. And I like it better. I definitely am following more, because I can go back and reread things 5 times if I don't get it.
Yeah, that's the key.
Plus, I feel like for me, I like seeing some of the made-up words actually helps, because it can kind of be a pictorial thing.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
seeing
you're like,
the names too.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's harder to, and I've said this before, and I think you said it too, Peter, the shifts in like how he'll go from one person to then they're like randomly dreaming, or they're not at all talking, they're just thinking. Like, it's too hard with following all of the different changes by listening.
Mm-hmm.
So that prompted the change.
Soups agree.
Now, I'm not saying I'm an expert anymore still, but more informed.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again, as they say.
Yes.
Exactly. I got fooled twice, but you won't catch me thrice.
All right, let's do this.
Let's get into it.
No, Peter, neither of us will read chapter 7. It's the longest. I just checked the length.
Yeah, it is. It's like, it's long.
2 pages, and the rest are 1.
All right, I'll do it. Chapter 7. In Capustan, the Grey Swords are led by a triumvirate dedicated to Fenrir. Destrant Carnatus speaks with Shield Anvil Itkovian. The Mortal Sword is ready to speak with them both. The Grey Swords will aid in the defense of the city and are contracted to the Prince Jalarkan. The trio speak, and the Mortal Sword Brockelion shares that demons have appeared west of the city. Itkovian departs, and the 2 remaining Grey Swords are spoken to through a glowing orb. It is Quickben who disguises his magic like Fenrir's Faithful and is reaching out on behalf of One-Arm's host. Brokelion discusses coordination in regard to the impending siege by 60,000 Penian soldiers. They will speak again, but the Grey Swords will remain contracted to Prince Jalarkan in the defense of Capustan. Quickben speaks with Whiskey Jack. He is surprised by the piousness of the Grey Swords, but he is suspicious of their titles. Itkovian leads a wing of Grey Swords out from the city, and he dwells on Capustan's origins from tribal camps. Near a basin, they find an undead Kell hunter. Their arrows strike the beast but do not kill it, and it attacks Itkovian. They manage to slay the creature, but Forborn descend. Pran Chol and 60 Talani Mass rescue Itkovian and the Grey Swords. Itkovian worries about a grieving recruit. Thousands of other Talani Mass form around them, and Pran Chol speaks with Itkovian. The Talani Mass were ordered by Kron to speak with the Grey Swords. The Kell Hunter are children of the K'chain Chamali matron. They come from the south and the Penian Daman. Tak considers the A as Lady Envy has traveled to a nearby city through Warren. Tak tries to speak with the wolf Baaljog, and he has visions from his blinded eye about hunting, meeting an elder god, and seeking redress. Tak and Baaljog speak with Tool. They are being followed on these sparse plains by wolves, and Tool calls it Memories of Ice. Tool names Tak Ariel Faye after learning how Tak's eye was scarred. Tool then speaks of origins. He defies his people by walking alone, leaving the Logros after Kalava defied the ritual and his brothers disappeared. Tak believes Tool is returning to the gathering of the Talani Mass. Tak receives another vision from the Tiger of Summer Trake. Trake, wounded by K'chain Chamale, has memories of the First Empire and wars on 7 cities. In this moment, he is dying and approached by a flesh and blood Mass with panther fur. She speaks of the need for a god of war by an ancient elder god. Tak returns from his vision, and soon after this, a Mass Bonecaster speaks to them. She is Kalava, Tool's sister. She recognizes Tak and thinks they were manipulated to meet like this. She speaks with Tool and says she will, for a second time, not join the gathering. An elder god speaks in Tak's mind. He will send Tak deep into the seer's embrace. The Panian army must be saved out of compassion. Tool urges his sister to join the gathering, but she refuses and leaves. After, they eat dinner with the Segula, and Tool tells the story of Adjunct Lorne. Lady Envy visits the city of Kalos, a recent site of slaughter. Here she speaks with Krull and asks if the Panians or the K'chain Chamale are to blame. Krull says murderers from the sea are to blame for the city's slaughter, murderers that serve the chain god. Lady Envy has drawn together servants for Krull to use. Krull speaks of Envy not attending the chaining of the crippled god, and then reveals to her the origin of Warrens. The Warrens are the flesh of Krull, and they are carved from Krald Galain and Starvald Demolain. Krull fears the crippled god and his poisoning of the Warrens. They speak of Dassam Altor, Knight of High House Death, to Sambre. He broke away from Hood during a chaining of the crippled god. Lady Envy agrees to combat the Panian Daman, and she is warned that Tak has something wild in him, and his scars make him vulnerable to the crippled god. Itkovian travels outside the city's walls with the Talani Mass and the Talani. He speaks with Pran Chol about the Talani, and then find Corporal Broach and Bauchelin. The rest of the caravan are wounded or dead, and the necromancers inquire about the Talani. The undead Eye pull the carriages towards the city, and Pran Chol and Itkovian are both leery of the sorcerers. Within the city, Carnatus feels exhausted and sees Prince Jalarkan even more so. The Mass Council and the Prince are in a political battle. Carnatus and Brokelion learn of the Talani Mass's arrival and ride to meet them. They learn of the K'chain Chamale's attack. The Talani Mass have come to the second gathering, and Kron seeks allies in Capustan to learn more about the threats from the south. The Talani Mass then depart. Brokelion is approached by a Jagat named Geffel, Hood's herald. Fenrir will soon die, a casualty in the new war with the crippled god. Hood offers safe passage for the Greyswords into Hood's warren in exchange for their allegiance. Brokelion rebukes the offer, slashing the Jagat's face. The herald leave, and Brokelion returns to look for Fenrir in the flames. Harlow and Netok have died, but Gruntle lives. He awakes alongside Stony Monachus in the Greysword's barracks. Okay, Josh, we meet a whole new cast of characters in the leader of the Grey Swords as we come to Capustan. First, we see them, we see Carnatus and Ikovian talking, and then we meet Brokelion and they talk to Quickbent. But, like, what's your first read on these leaders of the Grey Swords?
So, first, I want to say that this chapter was when I realized I was a broken man. Because...
Okay.
You know, the first two books, when I would get to a new group of characters I've never met, and then they have them thrust upon me, I would rage against it. How dare you? And this time I was like, okay, I guess. Let's...
Literally,
oh, they're cool.
I so agree.
Yeah.
And their names are so much worse.
Oh my god, yeah. And they all have their special fancy titles that are gonna mean, that all means important. And I was just like, okay, I'll try and learn it.
Yeah.
Give me some time, Steve, please. That being said, I like them all. I do enjoy that. There were a couple made up words, but a lot of them were just like, oh, okay, I get what you like. He's the shield anvil. I guess that means he's the defender. Maybe he leads the armed forces a lot. Sure. There was one that was called Mortal Sword, and I was like, you're probably a living weapon, because that's literally what your name is, so I guess that's what we are. Whatever, fuck it.
It's like a god's representative.
Yeah,
in a way,
no
like
rules,
mortal.
just right, I like them, though. I think they're very fun. They have some weird mannerisms, that is for sure, and they definitely have a brutal way of living, as, like... They brought that one recruit out, and they were like, I don't know, just, it's interesting. I'm very curious to learn more about them. I actually have taken to them much faster than I did the Bridgeburners at first.
Interesting. Because you're just a big Fenrir fan.
I mean, our god is a boar god, man, It's great.
That is what they say.
So, Fenrir is the boar god?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that Heboric worshipped.
Yeah, used to, yeah.
And that our boys Stormy and Gessler still do worship.
Yeah. India, how did it strike you to meet these new characters? And I do agree, they're like I like their titles, but also could we I don't know, maybe a CEO, CFO? It's just something a little more. I already have a reference to.
Yeah, there we go.
I agree.
I don't know what either of those mean.
It's okay.
Okay, is the E's executive, right?
Chief
Yeah,
Executive
F
Officer.
I don't know what that does though.
Chief
That's
Financial Officer.
Yeah, but I don't. What does
Chief
that mean?
Operations.
I know what they are.
That they don't do anything, and
That's
they just are at
okay.
the top.
Okay,
Josh, seconds ago you said I
They're-
don't know
they're
what
the-
they are.
but I know what the
Leaders.
words are, but I don't know what that means. They do.
Yeah, they don't
Oh,
do
well, that's-
anything. They just sit in rooms and play golf.
Let's eat them.
Let's eat them.
Josh, that's me in half of business titles. It's just words I don't know what we're getting at here.
Yeah,
See,
no,
guys,
all right, good. I'm glad we're on the
I
same
can
page.
where I may not know these titles, I do
Hmm.
know business titles.
Yeah.
We
Working
all have our
9 to
strengths,
5. What a way to make a living.
Oh, maybe.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, back to
I
okay.
digress.
We're talking about Malazan, of course.
Jesus, oh my god. Okay, so yeah, my first.
What's your read on the whole Capustan situation? Since it's our first time really getting a look at the Grey Swords and their relationship with the Prince Jalarkan.
Okay. What is my read on it? They Prince Jalarkan and whoever he's working with, the
The masked council.
them. And I think this comes up a little later, but they seem to be hella in denial about their situation,
Yeah.
where they're like, no, we're gonna be fine. But maybe not Prince Jalarkan, but definitely the mass council people seem to be a little confused.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
think.
hot on them so far.
Yeah, they don't seem very prepared, but these people, this whatever, the Mortal Sword and Itkovian and Distraint.
The Gray Swords.
Them. I'm confused at the part when they meet with Quickben, and then he's like, yeah, they're not what they, like, those titles, those were titles, like, back in the day, but they're, like, not now. But then...
Yeah, he's, like, suspicious whether they're, like, kind of co-opting the titles or whether they're, like, truly those representatives.
I have so many questions.
So, yeah, for that situation, I, like, was like, okay, like, maybe they are just, but maybe they're, because then at some point, they like use the strength from one of them to like heal people.
That is the people, the Gray Swords, who it is basically proven. So the Gray Swords are proven that they have some Fenrir power. We have not really met. Okay. We've not met the Masked Council, and actually in one of the chapters, it's alluded that like the what's his face, the Destriant is like literally the highest priest level you can be for Fenrir, but they're not telling the Masked Council guy because he wants to be Destriant. He just doesn't know that there already is one and who will wipe the floor with him if needed.
Now, when I read that, the Quickben part, my understanding is that they were the Gray Sword people were fake, and the Masked Council guy is the priest, and he would be the one. No,
you're correct, Inge. He was speaking about the titles of Mortal Sword, Destrant, and Shield.
And they thought they were fake because those are so... Okay, so let me try this, Indy, okay? Two distinct things. There's the Masked Council, who are all people who live in Capustan and say that they are representatives of their gods, or at least the highest priests of their gods. We know next to nothing about them, right?
Right.
Yeah, you'll meet them soon
So
enough.
the Gray Swords have these three people, and two of them have the title Mortal Sword and Destriant, right? And Quickben's like, well, here's the thing. Like, back in the day, we used those terms, but, like... that shit's crazy. Like, no one's ever actually done that. They must be lying. But we have seen the Gray Swords and know that the Gray Swords probably actually are what they say they are in power, in terms of power level.
Because you are correct. They call on Carnatus's high denewal warrant.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay, great. I'm glad that we're all on the same page here then.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page.
Cool. I like them. I think that they're an interesting people. They're a fun group. They have like a nice little banter to them. And this is the chapter where they all like got attacked, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Almost this entire chapter.
They have girls in their army too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Badass.
Even though she has a pretty bad day, doesn't she?
She has a bad day, but she's also like, but it's fine.
Yeah.
She's cool, calm, and collected, and she's just a recruit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. For that bad first day.
Wait till she's cut her teeth a little bit. Ooh, she's gonna be deadly.
I can't wait until we talk about that scene because I am so traumatized by the reading of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're speaking about, I think, when Itkovian leads some soldiers outside of the city to meet, just try and find these demons they were talking about, and they encounter a Kel Hunter, they kill them, and then a bunch of Talani Mass show up and kind of intervene.
You make it sound a lot less freaking devastating.
Yeah, so what hit you about it, Ange?
The horse that got chopped in half, and then the other horse that got its hooves chopped off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some horses meet some grim fates.
That was the most upsetting thing about it to me. And then oh my god, and then he had to kill his own freaking horse. I was just sad. I don't like when, the animals get involved.
Yeah. I just really like that whole sequence, because like when they're like filling the Kel Hunter with arrows, and then they're like, oh no, and then... I don't know, it's just kind of very like a kind of classic type of, I don't know, almost Tari monster. I don't know, it's just kind of a nice sequence to introduce kind of more the threat of the K'chain Chamale.
I know, especially because he was like, all right, we're going to do this real quick. You do this, you do this, you guys do this, let's go. And then not at all. Not at all. I mean, they ended up killing it, so that was cool. By like, ripping it apart?
Only because all these Talani Mass show up,
No, well, they killed the first one with the coolest method ever.
Yeah, it was disturbing. Yeah. That was also disturbing.
Yeah, you always hear about horsepower in terms of like how hard it can pull, and this really put that into perspective of how hard horses can pull.
Yeah, that was sick. I liked that, and I really don't want to like those psychotic little razor-armed K'chain Chamale things, but they are just so damn cool.
They are pretty cool. Yeah. They're like that guy from Mortal Kombat with the blade arms, but like infinitely cooler still. Baraka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Josh, how did it strike you when all the Talani Mass showed up? Did you think we'd be checking in with Pran Chol again?
No. It was a little, again, Erickson's very good at Deus Ex Machinas that, like, within 3 sentences are fully justified. Like, I was like, there is no reason. That's the reason. Okay, yep, sure, great, they're here. They're all here. Let me tell you, though, this is the first time we've seen a group of them, and, like, fuck me, that's a terrifying concept. Like, thousands of undead warriors who, first off, can materialize out of the earth.
I love that.
Yeah, crazy. And have no fear of death. Just, like, incredible.
And they're just here because, it's a big party. We're coming in for the
second
convention.
gathering.
Yeah, they gotta do the gathering.
Yeah.
The classic, the gathering. I like them, and I like people's reaction to seeing them for the first time.
Yeah, well, because we're so many characters that have met and know what they look like, that to have characters who are like, fuck!
Literally shaking.
Like that's so good.
Yeah. But speaking of Talani Mass, down on the plains of the south, we check in with Tak, who has a whole conversation with Tool. We learn about Tool's, like, what his name means. He tries to give Tak a new nickname.
Oh, yeah. What's his
Tak
nickname?
was resistant.
I love his new nickname. It's very...
Ariel Faye.
That's good. Oh, that's a good nickname. I'd kill for a nickname like that.
And then additionally, Tak has, like, double visions, and then they meet Tool's sister. Like, a ton of stuff happens. Inge, how did it all hit you? I mean, Tak is just out there, you know?
Tak is like, I'm so weak. I could never do what all these guys do. But then it's like, Tak, what are you talking about? You literally survived chaos. Like, he's great. I love that scene. I loved all the scenes, actually. I thought that was that's probably my favorite, like, part that I read. That and, like, when we revisit with Lady Envy. I feel like... Wait, is Kalava, is she the one that put the little kids in the thing in the beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Why is she still young and beautiful?
Yeah, and I got no idea, India. It made no sense, right?
Because I know that she didn't do the gathering, which is why she's not dead looking.
Right.
I think she's just very old, maybe.
But she's not very old.
She looks young.
But she looks very young. She's hot. She's sensual.
Yeah.
Not
She's got a rockin' bod, Pete.
Maybe she hits the gym. I don't know. Maybe she keeps up with eating vegetables.
All right, that's code for he can't tell us yet.
Yeah, because I'm curious, because if the whole point was to be like to never die, then why wouldn't they just do the same thing and be hot while they did it? Because she's still alive and she didn't do the gathering. So
that's true.
Curious.
Why choose to not be hot when you could choose to be hot?
Assuming
that's
that
a
you
strong argument, Josh.
Yeah. Whatever. I guess we'll find out. I thought that
maybe like she just came from the salon, though. You know.
All right, next.
Yeah, I liked that. I didn't fully understand the vision about the little wolf thing. The I, the A.
Yeah, he has double visions. One from the wolf and then one from the tiger god, Trake.
Good old
I
Trake.
love the tiger god.
Trake has popped up a bunch in this book so far. He's got to be super important at some point.
Now my question is, was that a vision per se, or was he also like in there chatting with him?
Well, Kalava, when she shows up, she was like, "Oh, I saw that you were looking through Trake's eyes." So there's definitely an element of that. You know, I don't think it was pure vision. I don't know.
I'm gonna say it once, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I really fucking hate all the gray areas here. They confuse me, and they're upsetting. That's all.
Josh, did these visions make a lot of sense to you?
Not in the slightest. But I'm sure on a second read, you're like, yes. The entire plot revealed. Like, I'm sure some bullshit like that.
So clever.
It was right in front of us the whole time.
I do understand why we're seeing these things, if that's what you mean.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah. But I really like that he's besties with the pup. I think it's adorable.
Oh yeah.
And
how'd you feel about Tool meeting up with his sister?
I didn't get the relevance of that, I'm going to be honest. I don't know how she just came out of nowhere. I know that she, like, I guess is aware that there's a gathering, but, like, why is she there?
She's not there for the gathering. She's on her own agenda.
Right, that she's not telling us. But then somebody comes into his head and is like, I forgot what they said.
An elder god speaks in his mind.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And then in the nearby city of Kalos, Josh, Lady Envy has a whole conversation with Krull. You know, and we learn a lot about the origin of Warrens.
Oh,
and
God, man.
kind of
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
crazy.
I think, like, since, like, chapter 4 of the first book, I think I asked really early on, like, what the Warrens are. And, like, the fact that there's just this elder god that, first off, everyone has forgotten about, sad, but, like, they just use his body for magic. Like, how fucking powerful is this dude? And it really puts into perspective, I've had some issues with, like, trying to figure out, like, how old an elder god is versus the founding races. And if the founding races use Warrens, and the Warrens are the body of an elder god, then there we go. That it cleared up some timeline stuff for me.
Yeah.
It was great.
Now, is that all Warrens?
Well,
because it can't. Go ahead.
So there's these elder Warrens,
correct,
that are like they're older, and these Warrens that the Kroll have, these mortal Warrens, are kind of more carved. They're more crafted, so to speak. You know what I mean? As opposed to kind of the older, more natural Warrens that are like darkness and like Starval Demolane. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where like these are kind of more artificial almost, and these are the ones that Kroll made.
All right, that makes sense-ish.
And at the end of this, there's a warning that Tak. We kind of found out that Tak is maybe going to head towards the Panian Daemon, and that he's vulnerable, and we kind of see even more of that in chapter 9.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should talk about it then, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah. So then, before the chapter ends, we go back to Capustan, and we see we check in with the survivors of the carriage, our two necromancer friends, and we see they're brought into the city, and Gruntle lived as well. Josh, what do you think is going to happen to these survivors of the caravan here in Capustan?
Well, first off, R.I.P. Young Jaghut and third wheel friend from the caravan guards. Shocker that he died. No one saw that coming. As soon as like he had sex with them, I was like, yeah, you're dead. Like, gone. Bye. I don't know. I'm excited to... Well, okay, let me say this. I have decided I thoroughly enjoy how Steven Erikson writes disinterested characters. Like, characters who do not want to be where they currently are. Because inevitably, I'm going to be like, fuck this dude, why doesn't he just leave? And then he'll do some great shit, and I'm like, this is the best character, 10 out of 10. So, It should be good. Also, there's a crazy serial killer who can just fucking, like, I don't even know how they survived. I still have no idea how they survived that attack. Had they magically fixed their caravan by using the bones of the fallen, and we're just gonna let them do them in the city? That seems like a serious misplay.
That's what I'm wondering. Are they gonna go in there and just start killing the shit out of people? Like,
I mean, I'll say this: they definitely, it is in their interest to not die, and they probably are smart enough to know that the Panian Daemon will kill them. Like, they won't let them not be killed. So they'll probably try and stop the Panian Daemon, I guess. That's as best as I got. All right, guess nothing.
Okay. I guess we're gonna find out. But speaking of allies, of course, we learned that the Talani Mass have come towards the second gathering, but also the leader of this clan, Kron, is looking for allies in Capustan to learn more about both the Kachin Chamal and the Panian Daemon. India, how do you feel about the city and their almost alliance with the Talani Mass?
I'll be very honest here. I get so mixed up between the Talani Mass and Tistiandi. I don't know why.
Okay.
So the people that are helping, like, with Caladan Brood and Whiskey Jack, those are the...
Tistiandi, yeah.
Okay, great, cool.
Amanda Rake, Moonbase.
Yes, all right, just making sure then. So then the Talani Mass are just here. I think it's a good idea, but then that little girl, Silver Fox, she's calling him home. So
we have talked about how fucked up it is that this kid's name is Silver Fox, right? Have we brought that up?
We did talk about it.
Just double checking. Still weird.
Yeah, it's not. I think it always will be.
Okay.
Also, I guess she's a young woman now. But anyway, so I think that something's gonna happen. I don't know what this alliance is gonna be, because at some point, whoever was talking, I don't remember which Talani Mass it was, but he was like, we have a gathering, and after we go and figure out what's happening, A, we may not be able to help you, and B, we really might not be of use to you after this. So, I mean, I feel like he said it for a reason. So I'm just curious about when they all collide and what I just can't even imagine what they're going to gather about. Maybe it's a secret obvious thing, but I don't know. And I don't know.
A read on the purpose of the second gathering.
Oh, that I have nothing.
Right.
What if they undid the
That's
ritual
what I'm
of
thinking,
Talon?
because why else
What
would he
if,
say
man?
we won't be of use?
Well, I
don't
think
know.
they maybe won't be of use because that I think is explicitly because Silver Fox will be deciding what their use is. You know what I mean? So I think they're saying they won't really be able to have their own choices once they reach the gathering.
Right. Okay.
I don't know that for certain, though. That could just be bullshit conjecture.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, Peter. I don't really have much feeling about the prospect of them coming together because I don't really know if they are. But I mean, obviously they're a great ally, and also we didn't really mention the Talani mask. Well, A's.
Oh, the Talon A.
Yeah, I love those little things.
Those are great. Cool as shit.
The doggos.
They
Gotta love skeleton doggos.
Didn't they just kill like the things without even dying? Any of them? They just all fucked it up.
I thought they were mostly being used for like labor.
No,
Were
they
in
killed the
combat?
thing. I know they did. I read it. I didn't listen to it. I read it.
She read it.
But
I
yeah,
believe
then
you.
some of them pulled the thing.
And then to lead us into the next chapter, Brokelion is approached by the Herald of High House Death and he's trying to steal away these great swords.
The Jagat.
But Brokelion's loyal, you know?
Yeah.
The fact that he sliced his face was so rude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a cool moment to, be approached by the Herald of the God of Death, who, the only other Herald of the God of Death we've met was that fucked up dude in book 1 when Perrin dies for a minute.
Yeah, I think that's even a servant. I don't know if it's even
so this
the
dude, and
Herald
it's a
proper.
full-on jacket, and this dude's like, fuck you, and just slashes him. That takes some gall to do. I feel like also we learn a bit, because we know from the last book that Fenner is walking the earth currently. And so he hints at that. I don't know. I feel like I probably should have reread that passage and try to get more out of it. But I'm interested to see the ramifications of it. I mean, we see some of the ramifications when in next chapter when Gethel does a thing. But we'll get to that then.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it.
In his own horn, Hood strips Gethel of his title as Herald. The Jagat leaves the Warren of Death and ends up speaking with the crippled god. The crippled god offers him to be the herald in the House of Chains. They speak of how the crippled god will assert himself into the deck of dragons, and Gethel accepts the offer. Whiskey Jack, the envoy from Darujistan, and Quick Ben play dice together. Kruppa is being slippery, and Corlat enters, calling Whiskey Jack to speak with Rake. Rake speaks of mortality and is curious about Quick Ben. Whiskey Jack speaks of how he first met the Bridgeburners wizard in a chase across the desert. In the past, Whiskey Jack and 70 Bridgeburners are being led by Callum Mekar across Raraku. Whiskey Jack names a soldier Fiddler after seeing a broken fiddle on the sapper's back. The Bridgeburners are following a trail of corpses, 11 mages. They find Adafon Delat, and although at first he appears ragged, he is healthy and powerful. He is the vessel for the souls of the 11 other mages. Both Kalam and Delat hoped Raraku would kill the Malazans, and both choose to follow Whiskey Jack. Rake is impressed that Quick Ben holds so much power in him. Whiskey Jack says the mage will join the rest of the Bridgeburners with meeting the Barcass. Rake agrees to leave Quick Ben and Silver Fox be. Whiskey Jack leaves astonished that he made a new ally. Crone warns Anamander about perils of mortal friends, and then Corlat speaks with the Lord of Darkness. Rake will leave, and he places Corlat in charge, and warns her to keep an eye on Kalor and to unleash the Tisti Andy if needed. Maib dreams of the tundra where she gave birth to Silver Fox. She is young again, and it is torture to remember what is lost. She wakes, and Kruppa approaches her with gifts, copper ornaments found in Darujistan. Perhaps this copper could heal her. The Bridgeburners land in the Bargast Range. Picker speaks with her squad, which receives orders to be Quick Ben's escort. Blend reveals what she learned about Trots, that the Barcass formerly held high tribal rank, and will duel the Whiteface clan. Everyone's lives are on the line. Perrin and Trot speak as they march towards the Whiteface, and Perrin wishes his soldiers could live peaceful lives. Quickben travels through the warrens, and in Hood's warren finds Talamons, a Barghast who was dragged from his barrow and trapped there. He speaks of the Barghast's ancient origins as Imas who missed the ritual of Talan. They later used canoes on the sea. Talamods wishes to free those first families from long ago, and Quickben frees the spirit.
So, India, we were just talking about him, but Gethel, this Jagat, kind of gets fired from his job and then goes, meets a crippled god, gets offered a new position in the up-and-coming House of Chains. What do you think of the crippled god's new power play to try and make a way into the deck of dragons?
I don't understand how they think that they did anything to this god just by chaining him somewhere if he literally is just going on with his crippled life, like chilling, broken, just like, yeah, well, we're just gonna keep it a pushing, we're just gonna keep moving, we're gonna keep bringing people in, having them do my shit, then I'm gonna destroy them in some way, and they're just gonna keep coming back because I have a lot of followers, bitches. What I don't get is what they were thinking, like when Karuli or what a Corlat is like, yeah, it only took 4 of us to subdue the crippled god. It's like, no, you didn't. Or maybe you did. Like, what would he be like if he wasn't chained somewhere is what I need to know, because he's still out there being fucking crazy.
Like he's still making the House of Chains.
Right. Like, and if memory serves me well, that is the name of the next book, so something successful must happen.
That is the name of the next book.
Fucking got him.
So, caught it. Also, the Jag cut, he's kind of a, not very, like, he's just like, oh, I lost my job. No, I'm not gonna work for you, crippled god. Just kidding. Yes, I am. I accept. So... He's
easily sold.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
All that to say, I mean, whatever idea he's cooking up, he has to have, it's gonna work, I feel. Whatever it is.
Whatever it is. Josh, back in the One Arms Host, we see Whiskey Jack. He's playing cards, but then he gets called to meet with Animator Rake. And we kind of have this flashback sequence almost to hear about how Quickben and Kalam first met up with the Bridgeburners and the origin of Quickben's magic, in a way.
Yeah.
How did learning all this hit you?
Again, it's like it's something that's like how it's such a bold move on Erickson to like introduce someone in book 1, like these pivotal people, and wait until book 3 to give you like all that info that everyone else has. I loved it, and it was incredible reading about them. I really enjoyed like seeing like their name is not because they burned a physical bridge. It's literally like Quickben's like you've burned a metaphorical bridge or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing about Quickben like absorbing those other mages is not crazy. I mean, we've known through hints that he has other mages inside of him. I didn't expect them to have been put to like gotten them willingly, that was interesting. But that was really cool. I do want to say, I do have more questions now about the Bridgeburners, because again, it was like 70 people.
Sure.
But then the Bridgeburners at the beginning of Pale apparently are like multiple companies of Bridgeburners, right?
Yeah.
And why? But they are treated as if they're these super special people, but it really sounds like only 70 or so people are the OG Bridgeburners, of which how many are even left?
I'm under the impression that those 70 in that those chapters maybe are just a few companies of them. I don't think that's the entirety of the Bridgeburners.
Well, right, but also those people right then aren't even officially a company yet. They were just given to Whiskey Jack on this suicidal mission. Like they are like, so like after this is when they can become a full squadron. I don't know. I still have questions. It was very enlightening for this. Like this was a very enlightening passage, but I still have many questions about the Bridgeburners.
Yeah. India, how did you feel about seeing the kind of origins of Quickben and Kalam's involvement with the Bridgeburners?
I was really confused about the Kalam portion of it. I didn't get it. But the Quickben part, I thought was very cool. He's just, I didn't really realize that he had multiple people inside. Like, I did, but I didn't realize they were like high mages or whatever. And
yeah.
I feel like guess exactly the way Josh feels pretty much. Like, I was trying to understand it better, so I did some studying on it, and I looked up some stuff. I know I'm not supposed to, but it kind of helped me to understand it a little better, which actually Josh obviously understood perfectly because they literally just parroted what he said. And I don't know. I think that it's cool, but was he kind of an asshole when he like was like, you could either die or you could live in me forever?
No, I think it was like, and they only chose, I think it was like, they kind of chose it together, you know, like, and he's the youngest, like, he's the only one that's gonna, like, literally survive the journey across the desert, so, I don't know. It seems like they were pretty willing, and it was chill.
I know what you mean, Inge. Definitely, since we don't see it, I was like, how mutual was this choice? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we can really know that, you know?
Now, I mean, he seems like a pretty good friend, so he hasn't, like, you know, done any shady shit to them, it seems.
Yeah.
So I guess he's, like, super trustworthy. But my thing is, like, I don't know. That seemed, when I read it, I thought that he was, like, he didn't really give them, like, there was no choice, so they just chose the lesser of two shitty situations.
Yeah, and I think the him knowing Kalam makes it feel a little sketchy still, because it's like, I don't know, like, did they really have no hope? Like, Kalam could have just got the Bridgeburners on the wrong path. I don't know.
Yeah.
You aren't wrong. There's definitely some questions to be asked.
I think aside from that, I think for me, I had completely forgotten about this sequence. I like kind of remembered their origins in regard to the company, but I forgot that, because like we see the past a lot in the series, but it's not necessarily through this like almost in-world flashback where like Whiskey Jack's literally talking about the past, we cut to the past, and then we cut back to the present. You know what I mean? And I guess I just had, I don't know, that happens less than the other type of viewing of the past, and I guess it really caught me off guard, and it was so interesting to see that formal quirk in a way. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, we learn that Animander Rake is leaving Coral out in charge and leaving the camp. Josh, how do you feel about Animander Rake leaving to return to Solana?
Well, first off, I don't know what Solana is, except that's not the name of that ship, was it?
It's the Red Dragon.
Oh, right. Oh, so that means the Red Dragon's alive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot the other smaller dragons died, but the Red Dragon lived. I didn't remember any of that shit.
Josh, the name of the ship is the Salandra.
Fuck y'all.
Come on.
I thought it was the Salandra.
Josh.
All right, okay, moving on. I don't know. I mean, we know that there's some insane mission that the Tisty Andy are going to go on, so I'm sure that's where he's going, and I'm curious to see what that insane mission is, but, you know, we'll get there.
Yeah, I guess we will. All right, India, we see the Maib dreaming of what her life would be like if she was young, and then she wakes up, and she is not young, and Krupp tries to comfort her. How'd you feel checking in with the Maib?
I love the Maib. She is an angel. I feel so bad for her. That was the worst dream ever. It's like the worst thing ever to have a dream of something and then wake up and it wasn't true. I had a dream that I got my job before I got my job, and I was so sad when I woke up and I didn't actually get the job yet. So, you know, imagine that, except it's your life. So...
Except it's your existence and body.
That was sad. I think that her and Kruppa's he gave her like some jewelry, right? But like what I wasn't understanding, because like honestly, his run-on sentences paragraphs, I try to pay attention to them.
We all try, India. Yeah.
But you know, it just ends up being a very, very in-depth skimming of his sentences.
Yeah.
So she first said like, oh, it's jewelry, thanks, like Rivi something. And he's like, no, but it's of this person and of this person and of this person. Like, why does that make it any better?
Well, they're like artifacts from Darujistan that from the Rivi, and he's like giving it to them.
Yeah, but she's still old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they don't do anything to bring back any of her life force.
Well, the Rivi do believe that copper has a healing power.
That's what it said.
Yes.
It did say that.
It could be good. I don't know.
I'm hoping that it makes her very powerful in some way, and then she doesn't die and just turns young.
Yeah,
again.
Truth. I don't want the Maib to die at all. I like her a lot, and her existence is pain, and that sucks.
Yeah, I love her so much. Yeah, I thought it was really special though, like, you know, because he's usually so like annoying and obnoxious, And even though he was still like kind of annoying,
Because like Krupp like played into the birth of Silver Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it was nice for him to comfort her in that way when she's just.
Do you think Kruppa feels like remorse? Like, I don't know. Like, do you think he feels bad for like the things he does?
I don't know. I don't think of him as a particularly remorseful individual.
I feel like he's in it for like some kind of end game. Everything.
He's
like,
slippery.
Like nothing in the moment means anything, and then out of nowhere you're like, oh, okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Josh, we check in with the Bridgeburners headed towards the Barghast. We see, let's just talk about it all together. We hear about Trots trying to duel, and then we also see Quick Ben go into the Warren and find this kind of trapped ancient spirit, and we learn about the history of the Barghast. So, how'd you feel about learning about these people and the plan to kind of try and ally with them?
Well, for one, I didn't expect this, like, because I kept getting the Barghast confused with fucking everything in the first book, and it's only...
I think you kept calling them Trell, or...
I think so, or I don't even know anymore, man.
Something, yeah.
So, I find it very interesting to know that this race that I've been confused about this whole time is secretly, like, that's the Talon people. I mean, granted, or the IMAS people before the ritual. Now, granted, like they've probably evolved. Yeah. I don't know. That was crazy. I really didn't see that coming. I don't know. I found it very intriguing. The whole thing with the spirit was kind of confusing. I got most of it. I don't really know what the guy wants to do, though.
He wants to, like, free the first, like, founding families.
Yeah, but what's that gonna do? I guess they're like stuck, right? He wants them to
but
pass
like,
on. Is that what it is? Right. He wants. I remember. He wants the Barghast to move past their old traditions and become something new. Yeah. I mean, that's admirable.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it'll work, but it seemed cool. I liked it. Very worried for Trots. I don't know anything about him other than recently he's been more talkative. Whatever the fuck that is. Like, supposed to tell me. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
All book they're like, Trots, he's talking lately.
Talkative
okay.
Trots.
Great, sure.
So,
is he good at fighting, though? How about that?
India?
Tool's sister missed the ritual. Why is she?
Yeah, she is not a Barghast because the Barghast are the descendants, and so they've like genetic mutations have occurred. So probably they don't even look much like the Talon IMAS did before they became undead.
I'm gonna say right now this is confusing as shit.
Yes, agreed. I'm holding on purely because I had to help my girlfriend study for an evolution exam today. And so this is the genetic drift. It's all up here. I got it on lock.
Man, really synergy with the study materials today.
Oh yeah.
I don't have that great of an answer for the Kalava age thing, but there probably is one. Or sometimes the age things are fuzzy. There's just, like, in my opinion, a ton of, like, really old people in the series.
Yeah.
So that's all.
It really feels like besides humans, everyone's immortal until they like die horribly.
Yeah, maybe. But she's also young, as we've established.
But like, no, she's not.
We
appearance-wise, she's young.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay. Like Lady Envy's young. Is she young or is she like a cougar? Thoughts, Lady Envy?
I don't know. I feel like she's got big cougar energy. You know,
big cougar.
Absolutely.
BCE.
Yeah. Well, let's get into talking about her and Talk in Chapter 9. Chapter 9. Talk and his companions near the Panyan Daman. The Segula Mach has a kiss mark on his mask. Lady Envy speaks about the Talani Mass's worship of death, and they wonder if there are Jagat still alive left in the world. Perhaps this second gathering of Talani Mass will end their immortality, and that their summoner is amongst the Malazan army. A Kell hunter appears, and the Segula make quick work of the undead creature. Tool is impressed by the Segula and attempt to challenge Mach, and Lady Envy puts an end to it. They carry Mach forward and approach a hamlet. The group disguises themselves, with Baljog shrinking down and Tool turning to dust. It rains on them, and the town is sparse. They are greeted by a pale, shaven old man in a stone pyramid. The monk welcomes them into the temple, and they meet Seer Daman Kaut. The Seer Daman is hospitable, feeding them and speaking of the temple. It marks the border of the Panyan Daman and protects the faithful. Lady Envy feeds Gareth, and the Seer Daman asks about the Segula. Lady Envy truthfully identifies them, but Tok intervenes and says they are only here to deliver a personal message to the Paninian Seer. After their meal, they are escorted to their chambers, and Lady Envy makes jokes about their deaths. Tok awakes to chaos. His sleep was magical, and Baljog has returned to normal size. He follows Baljog and finds the temple halls ruined. He finds corpses that had been boiled alive. Lady Envy greets them, unscathed, and says soon the Segula will be finished with the Seer Daman. The Segula hang the Seer Daman on hooks, including Colt. Tok is in a panic. He does not hold all the power his allies do. Lady Envy almost kisses him, and then Tok rejoins them to say Kel hunters are coming. On the road through the Daman, they speak about the origins of these towns and their languages. They find skeletons of livestock and wonder how the Empire feeds itself with their own territory so ravaged. Tok and Envy speak more of her reasons for entering the Daman, her power to control, and Tok's birth. They finally reach the city of Bastion, which has been razed and destroyed. Priests greet them, offering guidance and speaking of the children of the dead seed. Given birth from necrophilic assault, the first of these warriors is named Anaster. The first child will lead the Teniscalri army north to Capustan. Anaster and the army is in Bastion and order a mob to attack them. Envy defends herself along with the Segula. In a panic and in hope of traveling north, closer to the Malazan, Tok joins the Teniscalri. India, so this whole chapter is all about Tok and them encountering and entering the Panin Daman. So it's our first chance to see it kind of in person after hearing about it for so long, and then eventually they end up at this temple. What's your first read on the mood of this territory, and are you trying to visit?
I definitely wouldn't vacation there. I feel like that'd probably be somewhere I'd go if I was very sad, maybe a little angry, looking to break some shit. It seems desolate would be the word, I think. I don't really understand what has happened there. Like, what is there any like reason that it's like that?
Well, because it seems like this army just like consumes everything and then just is continuing to move on.
But people still live there.
Not really. I mean, they encounter this temple, which is like the border, but like it's not like there's like people chilling out that live there residentially.
Yeah.
Because I was confused.
The temple is there to basically like not let anyone in, kind of.
Okay.
Where's my book? I need to look at the map of this place. I'm still a little. So to clarify, Peter,
this is the place that was once beautiful, right?
Yeah. So they get to a small temple that's like the border of the Panian Domain.
Yeah.
And from there they end up in the town of Bastion. Yes.
True.
Now now looking at the map, it looks like basically Bastion is the farthest west city they've gone to. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why the army of human undead basically are still there, right? Because I guess it was probably it was probably recently conquered. I'm assuming that's why they're still there. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and then they're headed north. Then the army. But before that, they go to this temple and they're kind of our guests. How did you feel, India, when everyone was being a guest at this temple? Did it?
I couldn't tell if they were really guests.
What do you mean?
Like, I couldn't tell if they if they wanted to kill them or not. I think, but then they just ended up killing the shit out of everyone. So. Oh,
I was getting major murder vibes from the Seer Daman.
You were.
Oh,
okay,
the whole time. The whole time, you're just like, they're gonna kill us.
I have a hard time with picking up on things because. Sometimes I'm like, no, maybe they're just really nice. Like that guy who was weird in the last book.
Maybe they're sometimes just really nice.
Or whatever.
How India died.
Okay, great. But because my thing is like, they knew what the Segula, they know what they are. So at that point, how could you ever think that you could even compete?
Yeah.
Because even Tool was like, oh shit.
I also love that the one Segula has the little kiss mark on the mask. Really
that's so good. So choice. Good old mock.
She's so funny,
Yeah.
Lady Envy. I love her so much.
Yeah. We didn't get the chance to talk about, I think it was so uncool of Krull, you know, back when she was talking with Krull, to like somewhat blame all of like so much of the world's problems on her. Really unchill.
Yeah.
She was like, "Do you really think it was my fault?"
And he was like, "I don't know, you said it."
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it, but
I mean, like, take some responsibility for yourself, Dassam Altor, and every other person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling.
That was funny.
Josh, would you wake up in the temple and, well, first off, would you have even, I just feel like I would have never put myself in that situation.
Zero. Okay, well, yeah, first off, anytime I watch a horror movie, the whole thing I'm saying is just like, why are you not in your car leaving right this moment?
Exactly.
So, like, yeah, there is no, even if I'm traveling with these ultra powerful people, if I'm Tok the Younger, purely immortal, I'm not going in this place. I'm actually good out here. Like, I'm not. That being said, if I was in there and managed to talk to that guy and not get murdered, and they're like, we're gonna put you to sleep now, like, immediately I'm making a run for it as soon as there's no one looking at me directly.
Yeah, I actually have an appointment really early tomorrow morning. I gotta get it back to my own
I
bed.
actually have to go.
Yeah. And then we see them, we see kind of the slaughter. They slaughter all these people, and then they head out into the town itself. We see kind of more of the ravaged territory, and eventually we end up in Bastion and learn about Anaster and the children of the dead seed. How'd this strike you, India?
Still disturbing. Is there a reason other than that they're just, like, crazy? Like, is there, like, a powerful, like, whatever the name is,
anatomical.
Yeah,
like that guy. No.
Yeah, is he like super strong because of his origin, or is it just like no, they're just fucked up and weird?
I think he's just the first of these like weird.
Yeah, but she's asking if the children of the dead seed have power, and I think no. I think they're just fucked up.
Oh no, I just think they're like.
Shut up. See, because I was like, okay, like if they have something to back it up, like I'm in this world, like I could get down to some of the weird things that are happening here, but
no, it's just super fucked up.
That's freaking disgusting.
I have to say, this week I texted the podcast chat and was like, chapter 8 was the first chapter that didn't leave me feeling tired, like just drained from reading it. So I jumped right into chapter 9, and like chapter 9 happened, and we got to this part, and I finished it. And I was like, I had to just really sit there for a while. I had to like talk to people about it this week. I was like, can I just talk to you about something? They're like, yeah, what's up? And I'm like, I read this chapter of this book where people fuck corpses and they have their kids, and those kids leave armies of like poor starving people who eat people, and they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, listen to my podcast. It'll make sense.
It's not.
No, it's really rough.
No, it's like deeply disturbing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and I thought like, okay, like maybe it's like a magic thing. Maybe they're super magical now.
No,
like, which still wouldn't make it okay. Like, don't get me wrong.
Of course.
Yeah, it's still not good.
Which leads us to Tok's choice to join the Tenascalri to travel north.
Tok's an idiot.
Tok's a fucking idiot.
He's a moron.
Let me say this. I get that his thought process was this, right? My goal is to meet back up with the Bridgeburners. That's goal number 1. Goal number 1 is not dying. Goal number 2 is get to Bridgeburners. And so I understand that, like, the other people he's with are trying to cut a path to the center of the super deadly, religious cult empire. And I get that he in his mind, that breaks rule number 1, stay alive. But I also think the breaking of rule number 1, stay alive, happens when he joins the Tenascalri. The most fucked up thing I've ever read.
You think that was a mistake?
Yeah, bud. He can't, what's he gonna do? Like, just kind of chill with them and pretend, like, because he's gonna want to eat his food he has. And they're gonna fucking beat his ass for that food. Maybe even eat him. Who knows?
Yeah, he's gonna start eating people. Guaranteed.
I don't want to think he will. But listen, man, we all get to a point of hunger.
Sometimes we get hungry.
You get a little hangry. You're like, hey,
and
is that a corpse?
Left is the guy to your left. And he's looking like a mighty snack.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Disgusting.
No.
He's a fool. I honestly
really brings a newbie to looking like a snack. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to have to see how it works out for him, eh?
Mm-hmm. I guess we just got to read the books.
I
do got to say, I think I am just... I guess when I thought of this book in the past, I thought so much of kind of the military campaign in the North that kind of some of this talk stuff slipped out of my memory. I mean, not entirely, but man, I'm just loving it. It's a great time, and maybe the part of the book I've been most enjoying thus far.
It's very good. It's fucked up right now, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not like shit. It's hardcore. You know, I'm not saying yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just
Anyway.
don't get why he left his friends. But whatever.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it was a choice. A bad one.
Ooh, twins.
Twins.
Really crushing it tonight.
Me too. Bad choice.
Yeah.
Triplets.
All right, Peter. All right. Not triplets.
That'll probably do it for us here today. I wanted to shout out our listener Tyler, who started Read Along Facebook group to talk about the show and where we are in the books. If you want to join it, it's on Facebook, of course. So thanks for that. And we're also on Twitter and Gmail. 10 Very Big Books there. You can reach out to us there and let us know what you think of the show. Before we go, of course, can I get a prediction for what's going to happen in the rest of the book? Josh Baker, you can go first.
I'm gonna say Talk is really gonna have to face the moral dilemma of eating a human body or not.
An India prediction from you?
You know what? I'm going to talk also about Talk, and I'm going to say Talk is feeling down and out. He feels like he can't compete. He's not a witch. He's not a old, really strong person. He's not a Segula, whatever. He is going to surprise all of us with some next level shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm into it. Alrighty, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello everyone, producer AJ here, hoping you're all safe and sound. Some people were asking in the Discord if with everything going on with COVID-19, if that'll affect our release schedule, and I'm here to tell you that it will not. We record an episode in advance, so in the event that we can't record 1 week for any reason, we still have an episode to release. Speaking of the Discord, you can also check that out at bit.ly/VBBDiscord. It's been a really great time getting to know a number of you over the last few weeks, and we'd love to get to know more of you. The link will be in the show notes, and if you want to tell a friend about that, you can do that. You can also just tell a friend about the show. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can rate and review us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It'd be great. As always, thank you to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular logo. You can follow him on Twitter at Dan Gesrick for the hottest wedding planning takes. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode is by the one and the only Amaranthin from their album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with their other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on April 3rd with chapters 10, 11, 12, and 13 of Memories of Ice. Talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.
And this really put that into perspective of how hard horses can pull. India has frozen.
No, she's alive.
No, I was just
Oh my
looking.
god.
I was just
You were
looking
just
to the
so
side.
still.
She's still and statuesque over there.
Thank you, guys. I practiced that look. It's how you don't get wrinkles.